I'm Priscilla Cohen, Executive Director of the FAO Schwarz Family Foundation. Thank you all for joining us today. 8 current FAO Schwarz Fellows and I are going to give you an overview of the fellowship program, which is celebrating its 20th anniversary this year. And then we look forward to answering your questions. So feel free to type in questions in the Q&A as you think of them. And we're recording today's session. So what is the fellowship? It's about preparing you for a career in social impact and social change. Addressing systemic problems means leading the way with systemic solutions. That takes imagination, commitment, and all kinds of leadership skills. The fellowship's goal is to help put you on the path to be able to lead the change. I feel fortunate to have been involved in the creation and launch of the fellowship program in 2006 and to have led it ever since. It's so rewarding to work with and support the FAO Schwarz Fellows, who are such a diverse and interesting group of individuals. While there's no one kind of major or no one kind of college, fellows share a passion for social justice and for solving complex problems. I'm now going to turn the presentation back to Shraddha.
Thank you, Priscilla. So as I mentioned, I'm Shraddha. I'm a second-year fellow at Reading Partners New York, which is a national nonprofit that focuses on early literacy intervention. For my strategic project work, I manage federal work-study partnerships in the New York region. College students who have federal work-study awards are able to earn those by doing service with us off campus, and my job is basically onboarding them and providing ongoing support. They cover about a quarter of all of our tutoring sessions every year, so we're super thankful for our colleges and university partnerships. For my direct service work, I tutor students at one of our partner elementary schools in Brooklyn. So what is social impact and why is it important? As I'm sure many of you know, social impact just means social change. So any significant or positive change that solves or addresses a social challenge or injustice. This is something that can be operationalized in a number of meaningful ways and areas. So things like health, education, the arts, and the environmental stewardship. Social impact is important because it yields tangible improvements in communities that ultimately contribute to a better quality of life for individuals and for society as a whole. So how is the fellowship structured? It's a paid position and a 2-year commitment where you can work at a leading nonprofit host organization in one of 3 cities. So that's either Boston, New York, or Philadelphia. Both the strategic project work and the direct service are critical to the fellowship experience. So strategic projects build organization reach, impact, and capacity. They're tailored to specific organization capacities that you might be interested in. Your direct service work is direct engagement with the communities that your organization serves. Professional development is another major component of the experience and one of the most valuable. The fellowship fosters opportunities to build skills and learn more about social equity issues, both internally through your organization and engagement with this multidimensional work model, and also throughout the fellowship program. You'll have access to org leaders and learn about different social impact initiatives at diverse organizations during the retreats and maybe through relationships with cohort members. You'll also engage with special workshops and trainings during these retreats, which really help to hone particular competencies and facilitate reflection about your own experience. This is combined with ongoing mentoring that's committed to developing your abilities as a leader. After the fellowship, you'll come away with greater experience and a more interesting skill set or set of relationships than you would have after 2 years in another entry-level nonprofit job. Lastly, there's also the cohort experience. As a fellow, you have access to current fellows as well as alumni fellows to explore careers and different approaches to solving social problems. It's also helpful for personal questions, whether it's about grad programs that you're applying to or who to contact at a host organization you might be interested in learning more about. And with that, I'm going to pass the presentation over to Michael.
Thank you, Shraddha. Hello, everyone. Nice to hear where you all are coming in from. My name is Michael. I'm originally from Pittsburgh, and I'm a second-year fellow at the Food Trust in Philadelphia. For my direct service component of the work, I am a part of our education department. So I work with our farm to school team, and I facilitate youth action research projects in 3 different K-8 schools, working with students to identify issues that they face in their communities around food justice and food systems and food insecurity, and develop a research project that they can then take action on. I also do nutrition, education, and cooking with students and at community sites and different farmers markets as well. And for my strategic project, I help run communications for the PA Farm to School Network, which is a big collaborative of folks who do farm to school within the state of Pennsylvania. So I do all kinds of writing, newsletters, blog posts, different policy initiatives, working groups, all different kinds of stuff for them. And so as you see on this screen here, FAO partners with a variety of different nonprofits. So on the screen, these are an example of some of the fellowship hosts that we've had. Hosts cover a wide range of fields from environmental justice, educational equity, literacy, arts, food justice, and arts outreach. While these hosts range in size and mission, the work they all do relates to one another and revolve around social impact. And all of these hosts have track records of real impact and strong leadership in the communities where they are located. So as Shraddha mentioned, the fellowships in these nonprofits are based in 3 different cities, which is Boston, New York, and Philadelphia. There are approximately 6 to 7 new fellows who come on board each year and are spread across these 3 cities. Because it is a 2-year program, that means at any given time, there are typically 12 to 14 fellows in total. And in addition to the other fellows who are in your city, there's also a vast network of alumni fellows in each city. And these are people who have completed the fellowship at the organizations which you're located, so they know kind of, what you have gone through and are a really great help for resources or just kind of connecting with people or just having someone to reach out to. And so, yeah, each fellow is paired with an alumni mentor who is available for any guidance at any point. So fellowship host organizations are different from other employers, and they will have different expectations of you. They will assume that you have strong interest in making a difference in the world, that you are willing to engage in creative problem solving, that you have a strong desire to lead projects and initiatives, and most importantly, that you have willingness to learn, grow, and adapt. And now I will pass it over to Julie.
Hello, my name is Julie. I am a 2nd-year fellow with Audubon Mid-Atlantic based out of the Discovery Center in Philadelphia. So the fellowship itself is a multidimensional experience that includes not just direct service work, so that's where you're doing direct engagement with the people and the communities that your organization serves, but as a strategic project as well. These are projects that directly build organizational reach, impact, and capacity. For my direct service project, I design and deliver a conservation education curriculum to every class and every grade, kindergarten through 5th grade, in 3, this year 4 local partner schools, as well as coordinating and leading field trips to the Discovery Center for these classes, alongside an after-school gardening club at one of the classes, and coordinating extracurricular stewardship opportunities for students and families at these schools as well. So that's kind of my direct service with the communities directly served by my organization. And then for my special project, I advance public program initiatives at the Discovery Center by supporting our Discovery Days and other public events with on-site support, as well as print and social media outreach. But I also have designed and developed a new event series at the Discovery Center all about nature journaling that encourages participants of all ages to connect with and enrich the ecosystems around them. So typically in early career jobs, you might concentrate on either direct service or a strategic project. You can switch to the next slide. Yeah, so you focus on either one of these areas, either directly with the community or building capacity. But the fellowship is special because it emphasizes both. For example, by going directly into the classrooms, I'm able to bring hands-on conservation projects to students, allowing them to have that direct positive impact on the environment around them. But by expanding that engagement to a broader audience at the Discovery Center, I can really take a step back and evaluate what people are drawn to and the best ways to inspire people to take an active role in caring for their environment. So the direct service really, it brings your organization's mission to the people that you serve, and your strategic project really helps you take a step back and analyze the best ways to do that and amplify your impact and your reach. All right, next slide. So professional development is another huge part of the fellowship. It's kind of like the third component. It not only enhances your professional competencies, but it also helps you excel. It ensures that your knowledge and skills are relevant and up to date, and it builds awareness of changing trends, research, and approaches in social impact. The FAO Schwarz Fellowship professional development is especially focused on developing your leadership potential. And one of the main ways that fellows receive this training is through our retreats, which happen 2 times a year and rotate among 3 cities where the fellows are based, New York, Philly, and Boston, and are about 4 days long. The retreats include workshops, speakers, site visits, presentations, and guided discussions. Fellows play a key role in planning these retreats, and this program is designed to and reflect the fellows' needs and interests. So those opportunities that you get on the retreats are really informed by fellows' actual feedback. All right, next slide. So there are a lot of different leadership opportunities within your organization and within the fellowship itself. As a part of the fellowship, one of those biggest opportunities is that um, twice yearly retreat. So you get to collaborate with other fellows in your city to create a whole retreat for the other fellows to enjoy. But just as an example of some leadership roles that you might be asked to take on in your organization, in my position, I've been able to take on multiple leadership roles, such as creating and leading native pollinator garden projects at 2 local partner schools, managing partnerships with other local organizations, and creating that brand new event series at the Discovery Center. So there will be lots of opportunities for you to take on more of a leadership role, which will allow you to build skills in all kinds of different areas like project management, communication, and community engagement. Without further ado, I think I'm going to turn the presentation over to Alex.
All right. Thank you, Julie. So my name is Alex, and I am a second-year fellow at the Museum of the City of New York in New York City. And for my direct service work, I lead school groups from grades K to 12 through our galleries on guided tours that are focused on New York City's past, present, and maybe get them thinking about the future culture of New York City. In my strategic project work, I am focused on accessibility, trying to find and implement ways to make our school programs and entire museum more accessible for disabled visitors. And I am going to tell you a little bit about the fellowship cohort and network. And this fellowship really would not be what it is without the cohort experience and network. And in fact, that is really one of the main reasons that I applied for this opportunity. Not only do I have a really strong support system of colleagues at my host nonprofit, but I also have Priscilla, the current fellows, my alumni mentor, and a great network of other alumni to reach out to as well. Leaving college and going into the real world, so to speak, felt really daunting to me, and especially living in today's era in a world that is still impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic, in which many people work remotely, it can be really hard to form deep connections with other people. However, this fellowship really helps to build those connections, allowing you to not only develop professionally, but personally as well. For example, shortly after starting the fellowship, I had dinner with the other current New York City fellows, including Jacob and Shraddha, who are on this call, as well as some of our now graduated alumni fellows. And this created such a strong bond between the other fellows in my year, in my city. And to this day, we still make an effort to get dinner once a week, which is a tradition that we have had the opportunity to invite our newest New York City fellows into, including Genevieve, who's also on this call, which has been just such a wonderful experience. And being an FAO fellow has given me the incredible opportunity to make such great friends who are just as passionate about social impact work as I am, which is something that I am forever grateful for. I'll go to the next slide. Beautiful. And so when I accepted this fellowship position, I knew that I would have a support system, again, not only professionally, but also personally. And I know that this is something that's going to continue well past my time as an FAO fellow. And so when I enter, that's being when I enter our alumni network. And so, talking about our alumni network, I'm going to turn it over to Genevieve.
Hi, everyone. Sorry if it's a little loud in the office. Just ignore them. My name is Genevieve. I am a first year fellow from San Diego, California, and I'm currently working at Hudson River Park's River Project in New York City. For my direct service at Hudson River Park, I teach field trips and drop-in programs about river ecology, biodiversity, pollution, climate change, you name it. And then I also have the opportunity to mentor high school STEM leaders and develop evaluation tools and new curriculum or projects for my nonprofit. Today, I'm going to be sharing a bit about what our fellows do after the fellowship is over. The fellowship serves as a great opportunity and a launch pad for your career. After completing the fellowship, fellows end up in wildly different places, whether that be advancing their education, sticking in the nonprofit field. Each outcome varies greatly, but the vast majority have gone on to continue social impact work. Yep. As far as numbers go, about 80% of our fellows over the last 3 years have been offered permanent roles at their host organization after the completion of the fellowship. 62% of fellows have obtained or are pursuing a graduate or professional degree in a range of programs, including education, social work, business, law, art, and others. And at large, 92% of our fellows continue working in the nonprofit sector or social impact field. These are pretty great turnouts, and every experience after the fellowship is unique. How you choose to advance your career or education after the fellowship is entirely up to you. We're all just here to help you get there. There is so much value in this 2 year experience, ranging from professional development opportunities, project management, direct service, and leadership skills. The list goes on. And all of these skills are easily transferable, especially within the social impact sector. But they are also easily applied to graduate school and other careers. From new experiences to enhanced career opportunities, the possibility of higher education applications that the fellowship gives you are so multiple. Next slide, please. Thanks. I want to reiterate the point that there's a ton of career diversity among our alumni. Alumni fellows pursue graduate degrees in a variety of fields, including business, law, urban planning, education, social work, and more. They are working in a variety of fields, as you can see from this sample list of 9 alumni. Samantha Perlin, Greg Wright, and Ryan Telgenator have taken up roles in city and state governments. Jill Rosales, Karen Wilbur and Clara Monk are working on issues around educational access. Nick Mitch is working in the arena of environmental justice, and Lauren Brinkat works as a curator for an arts organization. These are just a few of our many alumni, and those not included on the list have just a diverse range of post-fellowship careers. With that, I'll pass it off to Delaney.
Hi everyone, thanks Genevieve. I'm Delaney, and I'm a first-year fellow at the Museum of Science in Boston. My direct service work includes facilitating in-gallery learning activities for museum visitors, helping to organize and lead our internship programs over the summer, and our partnership work with Fenway High School. And I also teach at the museum's satellite location of Harvard Medical School's Med Science program, where we provide local high schoolers with hands-on experiences in simulated emergency room settings. My strategic project is to help plan and implement large-scale youth events. Right now, we're planning for Hackathon and Computer Science Education Weekend, which are both held in December, and I'm currently coordinating with community partners who will be attending the event and helping to finalize all of the logistics. I'm so excited to share with you all the host organizations for the 2026 to 2028 fellowship cohort. First off, in Philadelphia, the Philadelphia Art Museum and Audubon Mid-Atlantic will each host one fellow. Audubon Mid-Atlantic returns a third time as a fellowship host, where the fellow will focus on education and engaging the community in conservation and the environment. The Philadelphia Art Museum will host its first fellow in an exciting museum education role. In New York City, the Brooklyn Public Library, which is new to the fellowship this year, will host one fellow, while a longtime partner, Reading Partners, will host 2. Both programs will focus on literacy and reading and have outstanding records of social impact. And then in Boston, the Trustees of Reservations, also new to the fellowship, will host one fellow focused on environmental education. And 826 Boston, a returning host dedicated to inspiring students through writing, will host 2. I'm now going to dive deeper into each of the positions' new roles. If you all want to read more about any of the positions, the FAO Schwarz Fellowship website contains a more in-depth look at them. Okay, so first off, in Boston, this year 826 Boston will host 2 fellows in unique roles, the Publishing Fellow and the Data Evaluation Fellow. Interested candidates may apply to either one or both of the positions. The Publishing Fellow will provide individualized writing support across 826 Boston's programs and develop processes and tools to provide more students with access to 826 Boston's publishing program and expand the program's array of print and digital publications. The Data and Evaluation Fellow will provide individualized writing support across 826 Boston's programs and enhance and expand the suite of program assessment tools utilized by 826 Boston to more meaningfully measure how students' skills develop during their tenure in 826 Boston's programs and increase the organization's ability to communicate its impact. At the trustees, the fellow will co-lead Mobile Adventures, which is a nature-based educational program for their direct service work, and lead the evaluation and expansion of the Boston Waterfront Ambassador Program in alignment with the trustees' new plans for their strategic project work. And then for New York City, at the Brooklyn Public Library, the fellow will engage families experiencing homelessness by visiting shelters in Brooklyn to lead story times, arts and crafts activities, and connect families with Brooklyn Public Library's resources for their direct service work, and will strengthen the library's role as a public institution by identifying areas of need, creating new resources, developing new opportunities and partnerships, and evaluating the success of BPL's offerings to families living in shelters and served through satellite services through their strategic project work. We also have reading partners in New York City, and they will be hosting 2 fellows. The first is the Community Engagement Fellow, who will serve as a valuable member of the Community Engagement team, playing a key role in supporting the successful recruitment and engagement of multi-hour volunteer partnerships, which provide over 20% of tutoring sessions annually. The Powered by Reading Partners Fellow will serve as a tutor, providing one-on-one instruction to students in grades kindergarten through 4th grade for their direct service work, and will serve as a valuable member of the program team, playing a key role in supporting the Powered by Reading Partners program model management for their strategic project work. And lastly, in Philadelphia, Audubon Mid-Atlantic Fellow will deliver science curriculum to 1st through 5th grade students through in-class lessons at partner schools and help implement a strategy for Audubon Mid-Atlantic to build and strengthen their Strawberry Mansion audience and create deeper community connections. And at the Philadelphia Art Museum, the fellow will lead and facilitate educational and creative initiatives with youth audiences for the direct service work, and will co-lead and develop the planning of strategic initiatives such as the Teen Advisory Council, a youth internship program, career days, teen-led events, and new or expanded offsite programming concepts for their project work. And with that, I am now going to pass the presentation over to Shoshi.
Hi, my name's Shoshi. I am the other first-year Boston Fellow at Boston Collegiate Charter School. For my direct service work, I teach literacy intervention classes to 5th through about 12th graders. We're a 5 through 12 school. And then for my strategic project, some of the things that I do include documenting best practices in education and disseminating that. So writing articles about our best practices, both internally and externally as well. Now I wanted to review some of the nitty-gritty aspects of the fellowship. So first is the salary is competitive with other fellowships with early career nonprofit positions and reflects the cost of living in the host cities. In Boston and New York City, where the cost of living is higher, fellows will earn $52,000 in their first year and $58,000 in their second year. In Philadelphia, where the cost of living is lower, fellows will earn slightly different salaries depending on their host organization. At Audubon Mid-Atlantic, fellows will earn $47,000 in their first year and $53,000 in their second year. And at the Philadelphia Art Museum, fellows will earn a little over $47,000 in their first year and a little over $48,000 in their second year. Fellows will receive the same benefits as an entry-level employee at the host organization. In addition, fellows receive professional development and leadership training through the FAO Schwarz Fellowship Program. On the screen are the eligibility criteria for the fellowship, which I will also read out loud. So you must be a 2025 graduating senior in November through the summer of 2026 from a 4-year accredited college. You must be a U.S. citizen or legally permitted to work in the United States. You have to demonstrate a strong interest in social justice and social equity and have a strong academic record and a record of leadership on your campus or in your community. Now for the application components. What is required is an application form, a resume, and short answer responses where you answer a few questions, including why are you interested in being an FAO Schwarz Fellow? Why are you interested in being the fellow at this host organization? What background and experiences would you bring to the direct service and special project work at this organization? And tell us about a meaningful leadership experience you've had. There is info about new fellowships and how to apply on our website. Now, I'll do a quick review of the application timeline, the most important of which is that the deadline is February 1st, 2026, 9 p.m. Eastern. Applications for the next cohort already opened earlier this month on November 1st. We encourage you to follow us on social media. You'll hear about the experiences of current fellows and some of our alumni fellows. And if you signed up for today's session, you are already on our mailing list, so we'll send you an occasional email about the fellowship experience and any important announcements. And if you are not on our mailing list, we will post a link in the chat where you can sign up. And then for upcoming events, we'll have one more info session on January 13th and 2 Instagram Ask Me Anythings on January 7th and January 29th. With the fellows as well, and we'll send you reminders about these dates. And with that, I will turn the presentation over to Jacob.
Awesome, thank you. Hi everyone, my name is Jacob. I'm a second-year fellow at Reading Partners New York City, along with Shraddha. And for my direct service work, I tutor students at one of our partner sites in Brooklyn, and my strategic project work involves managing our tutoring partnerships with community organizations, and also leading our family engagement workshops. So we're gonna take I think the next 10-ish minutes for questions. So if you want to add any questions to the Q&A, feel free. And for those who have entered questions already, thank you. But our first question is, especially with the 20th birthday, what is the network like between current and previous fellows? Is there a cohort type relationships, and do alumni maintain relationships with the program? I will let Taylor take this one if you're there. Awesome.
Hi, everyone. You haven't heard from me yet, but I am Taylor. I was a fellow from 2019 to 2021 at Europe, called Europe United now. I did direct service by coaching students in the program, and for my strategic project, I did a lot of marketing and social media work for them. I continued on with them after the fellowship and now continue to work in the nonprofit and social impact space doing marketing as well. And I support fellowship in my spare time. So regarding the 20th anniversary and sort of like alumni network, we have, as you saw, about 85 or so alumni fellows who are all, generally speaking, pretty connected to the fellowship still. Priscilla obviously forms really great relationships with the fellows while they're current fellows and maintains those relationships while they're alumni, so everyone feels very included and kind of at home with the fellowship program. The mentorship program definitely helps out as well. So fellows are paired with alumni mentors for the duration of the fellowship and kind of form friendships that way and really gain a meaningful perspective from someone who's been in their shoes and someone who can kind of provide a little bit of career perspective and that sort of thing. For me, I would say I keep in touch pretty regularly with some folks from my cohort and the cohorts around me, and I love getting to hear and interact with the fellows kind of in my part-time capacity supporting the fellowship. So I'd say it's a very tight-knit community and everyone's really willing to help each other out if you have want to do an informational interview or learn more about what someone's doing. No one's ever hesitating to connect you to folks that they know. So I think it's a really supportive community, especially when you're looking to kind of enhance your career or have questions about that.
Perfect. Thanks, Taylor. Okay, next question is, outside of direct service and the strategic project, do fellows ever pick up extra projects to support their host nonprofit if time allows? And I will let Shraddha take this one.
Yeah, so Jacob and I have actually both picked up some projects outside of our direct service and special strategic project work this year. That wasn't the case during our first year. I think we were both, figuring out what exactly our roles were and learning our strategic project work. But during the second year, there was definitely a little bit more time to do that. For example, we're both co-leading our AAPI affinity space, which was a really great experience for us during our first year. So we were able to step into more of a leadership role during the second year. We also co-manage our social media. There's actually a post up on at RP New York City right now on our on our story. If you have any reading partners specific questions, there's a question box on there. So if your question doesn't get answered right now and you're interested in applying specifically to reading partners, you can ask us through that. I've also joined our social impact committee, and I'm helping to co-lead that as well. It's our committee that's focused on workplace culture and belonging. So definitely opportunities to take on other projects depending on your interests at your host.
Yes, awesome answer, Shraddha. And yes, please go hype up our graphics on our Instagram because we worked really hard on those. But next question is, how much value do hosts place on your past experiences matching with their specific content areas? And I'll let Julie take this one.
Yeah, so I'm kind of in like the opposite situation as you were, where I had some expertise in the kind of environmental space, but I didn't have a lot of educational experience. And I think you might honestly be in a better position. Like if you are the direct service work that you're going to be doing is working with youth and you have a lot of experience working with youth, I think the direct content areas are not as important because those are things that you can pick up and I'm sure that you'll be trained on. So as long as you communicate, your passion for working with youth and your experience in that, I'm sure that the host organizations would be willing to work with you.
Perfect. Thanks, Julie. Okay, another question. Is there scope for grassroots engagement through the fellowship? Genevieve, do you want to take this one?
Yeah, I can. And there's like a second part of that, which is what helps applicants stand out. And I really want to harp on what everybody is saying is that expressing interest, demonstrated interest, and highlighting your transferable skills. I don't know if any fellow is a direct line for line fit for their position, but highlighting those skills that are applicable are going to help you a lot in the application process. And then in terms of grassroots engagement, it's really you can make the fellowship however you see fit. And so if that is something you're interested in, it's definitely a talk to your supervisor about. When I was first settling in, my supervisor really asked my interests and how I wanted to get the most out of the fellowship. And that applied to the job, but also just to living in a new city for the first time, being in New York for the first time. So that included, I got sent a lot of suggestions of like community gardens that I was interested in, different ways that I could engage with my community. And so if grassroots is important to you, communicate that to your office mates. They've lived there longer, they'll be able to connect to you in a way that may be beneficial for you.
Yeah, I can also want to add just a little onto that as well. All of the fellowships, but I know mine especially, and some of my other fellows, their orgs are very oriented towards community engagement and working with, the neighborhoods and communities that surround their sites. And so there's always, all kinds of like tabling events and partnering with local community orgs that are run by and for the community. And so there's, definitely been lots of opportunity to connect with grassroots orgs and, build partnerships with folks that we are both working with and helping to provide services to. So yeah, lots of chances.
Okay, next question. Does the fellowship program offer any support related to housing, given the higher living expenses associated with larger metropolitan areas?
I'll take that one. Again, hi Emily, because this is my friend. But so as Shoshi beautifully went over, the fellowship does provide a relocation stipend, which was very helpful as I was moving. I moved from New Jersey to New York City. But even aside from the financial support, there is a lot of support that you gain from not only that I gained from Priscilla, but also from who would eventually become my supervisor, as well as my alumni mentor. when it came to figuring out what neighborhoods to move to, how to budget, what you should look for in an apartment, even down to things like, do you want to live on the first floor or not? Especially, they were also very helpful with figuring out how to navigate public transportation. So I would say that there is a lot of support. And I know New York, I wrote up a document all about moving to New York City. I believe the Philly Fellows made one as well. I could be wrong. I'm seeing Taylor nodding. So then there are things available, resources available online, but also you have an amazing alumni network and also network of current fellows that have made the same move and can speak to kind of how to navigate that change.
Thank you, Alex. Okay, another question is asking, what experiences led the current cohort to apply? Does anyone want to touch on their motivation?
I can shout out really quickly, and I'm going to connect this to another Q&A question we had for somebody who had mentioned they weren't eligible to apply and what advice we'd bring to them. And I was motivated to apply for a plethora of reasons, but a lot of that was like post-graduation anxiety of, I have no idea what I want to do next. I know things I like to do. I like to work in education. I like to be outside. And then scrolling online. You guys are already ahead of the game. I didn't find an information session until they had already finished. And so that being prepared, looking and seeing, just trying to fill the gaps of what do you like to do, all may be beneficial in pushing you to apply for a fellowship like this, or if this isn't something that's going to work out for you, applying to something like that in the future.
I can also piggyback off of Genevieve. I know I want to apply to law school next year, but in the meantime, I really wanted to do direct service work, youth-oriented work, social impact work. And so I found the fellowship when I was looking for opportunities that would provide me with somewhere between 1 to 3 years of direct service work before applying to law school and having some real world experience and on the ground experience working with the communities that I want to serve in a different way later down the line.
Perfect. Oh, we have a question specific for Shraddha. So it says, since you're a first-year fellow, I'm wondering how your work responsibilities or hours look and feel right now and how that has or will change. The website says that you start off tutoring 5 students a week and progressively gain more responsibilities as you go on. So I'm curious how it's been.
Yeah, so I'm actually a second year fellow, but I can still answer this based on how it's changed from my first year to the second year. So like I mentioned earlier, the first year was honestly just a lot of like learning and adjustment. And during the second year, I think more time opened up because I was able to do a lot of the same things that I was doing during the first year faster than I was doing them before, just because of the experience that I had. So that meant that I was able to move into more of a leadership and coaching role in some respects. So before I was managing a lot of our interns directly, but as we've expanded internship partnerships, it became, this is just one example, it kind of became not feasible for me to directly manage all of our interns. So we passed them off to some of our AmeriCorps members, and I've been coaching our AmeriCorps members and supporting them in managing interns. So that looks like a different type of responsibility than I had last year. I also mentioned that I've, taken on other opportunities, such as joining some of the committees that we have here, co-leading the AAPI affinity space, doing social media content creation, which was definitely new to both Jacob and I. But yeah.
Awesome. It looks like we have time for maybe 1 or 2 last questions before we close up. But this next question is, in your experience as a fellow, what would a typical week workflow look like for you? And I'm going to give this to Shoshi.
Yeah, so it really depends on your fellowship position, but for me, it's pretty specific where it doesn't look the same throughout the week. So Mondays, we have a short day. Again, I work at a school, and so I actually don't teach any classes on Mondays, and it's shortened because of professional development. So we've got professional development. That's when I do my check-in with my supervisor and schedule meetings. And I typically do a lot of my strategic project work on Monday. Tuesdays and Wednesdays, I only have 2 classes, and so I'll teach those 2 intervention classes and then do a lot of strategic project work. Thursday, Friday, I teach 5 classes and I have a lunch group with students. So my day is totally full and I can't do any strategic project work. But yeah, it looks different depending on your position and what it's like at your organization, but that's how it is at mine.
I can kind of hop onto that too. I work at the Museum of Science, and so being at a museum, I work Tuesday through Saturday, so a little bit different than a typical work week. And my days are kind of split up, also kind of like show she's depending on like what programs I have what days. So like on Saturdays, I work all day on the floor. Thursdays, I work with our high school med science program with Harvard. Wednesdays, I have my interns, and then Tuesdays and Fridays, I do a lot of my strategic project work. But it also changes throughout the year too, because we host a lot of events at the museum. So like November, December, we're super busy with our event planning. So a lot of that strategic project. Whereas over the summer, we have a lot of interns aboard. So it's more of that direct service work. So changes during the week and throughout the course of the year.
Thank you both. Okay, so it looks like we're running out of time for questions, but we have a lot of remaining questions. So take a look at Taylor's chat. If you have any more questions or if you have a question that you really want answered, feel free to send us an email at contact@faoschwartzfellowship.org and Taylor will try to get back to you. We also have some upcoming Ask Me Anythings and an extra info session. So click that link that Taylor dropped in the chat and feel free to join us for those. But thank you once again for attending the FAO Schwarz Fellowship information session. Check us out on social media. On Twitter and Instagram, we are at FAO Fellows. And again, if you have any more questions, don't hesitate to reach out to us at that email listed. But before you head out, we would greatly appreciate if you fill out a brief survey that's going to come up right now as you leave the webinar. But otherwise, thank you so much for joining. And good luck with your applications to all of those that are applying.